Yep, this is George of Truck Driver Nation. So, what we're going to discuss is why is this over your head? I get so many people that want to come, they want to be a freight dispatcher, they want to know the magic behind, how I generate the income that I'm doing. And the whole thing is freight dispatching isn't risky. The numbers don't lie. I mean, we're going to discuss piece by piece, and it ain't that many pieces that even make up freight dispatching. Yeah, there's some factors inside of it that you do it more in depth, but that's the reason we train you. So that being said, we're going to move through this pretty quickly, make it short, but this, you really shouldn't have no excuse for a reason you're not becoming the freight dispatcher that you're already wanting to do. All that indecisiveness, oh, I'm not sure, you're asking your old lady, um, you know, I'm not getting off on all that, but the thing is, if I had waited for other people to make my decision based on what I chose to do in my life, hell, I'd be in some kind of bad shape, I would imagine, because you just got to do it. You are grown men and you are grown women. You know this is where the money's at. The overhead is jack crap. It's so little. But let's go through it real quick, and hopefully this will help you make a decision. Okay, so we're talking about a reality check nobody wants to hear. If you're into self denial, that's on you. But I'm here to kind of hopefully snap you out of it. Misplaced commitments. People will spend 4 years in college and 10 years, tens of thousands of dollars chasing a degree that doesn't guarantee a job. I did science. Yeah, I had a job, but it absolutely sucked. Man, them colleges don't give a rat's ass about whether you do what you're going to school for or not, or even if it's right for you. All they are is a business. So this right here, if I had known what I knew before I invested 9 years of my life and going back and forth between community colleges, universities, and stuff like that, I would have never ever done any of it. But it's too late. I already spent the money, so that's just the way it is. The next thing is going to be about the common personal debts. People will finance cars they can't afford while you're living outside your means. People will carry credit card debt for years, sometimes for lifetimes. Career stagnation. People will stay in jobs that they hate for decades. And then the skepticism. You got your own skepticism. Your skepticism comes in a gamut of different things. Can I do this? Can I make it? Is this a good person to teach me? Can I trust them? Is this worth the money being spent? What's my return on investment? Or they just drag their feet and they never make the decision to just do it. Why? I don't know. But this is what I can tell you. Before you go wasting all your money on this bull crap, you need to have some way to support yourself and to make it worth your while. Don't trust me. Do your own research. If I'd have known what I known about freight dispatching, man, my life would have been so much a better quality just because I'd have had the revenue to buy land, to buy houses, and we're talking about cash. But anyways, let's move on to the next one. Get some more points in here. Now, what is the actual real risk? If you're going to become a freight dispatcher, what are the risks that you're mitigating against that's keeping you from doing what you're doing? Okay. Real risk defined. Investing huge amounts of money with no control over the outcome. You know you've done it, whichever form you did it in. Spending years climbing a corporate ladder only to be replaced. The hell with that. You trust other people with your actual career. You're on your own. I've seen it a million times. I've even seen the lieutenants, as I called them, and maybe some of their captains turn on the owners and literally sink the whole company. Depending on a one paycheck and hoping your employer never decides to cut staff, that was just stupid. I'm gonna tell you, if you're doing it that way, you're dumb as hell. Okay, that's not being personal. If you don't like what I got to say on that, well, you can call me up and I can easily prove it to you. I would never put myself in that situation. The freight dispatching difference. It doesn't require that you ain't got to have a truck, a CDL, a warehouse, employees, hundreds of thousands of dollars in overhead. None of that. It is literally you. Now, obviously, I show you how to scale it up, but when you're just starting out, there is pennies on the dollar that you actually spend. Most of the crap you already got at your house, the laptop, the noise canceling headset, high speed internet, and the phone. What more do you think we're using out here? Okay. We got a couple of applications like a TMS. The load boards are provided by the truckers because they got their MC numbers. We got to have their MC number to have access to the load boards. So you're not even paying for that. Now, I'm not religious, but walking in fear, man, don't let fear be the mind killer type of thing. That's just, I mean, if you're afraid of responsibility, it's all manageable. You are in 2026. You got so many simply user-friendly softwares to keep you from being stupid. It's not funny. But because once you learn a valuable skill, excuses start disappearing. If you can literally plot it out, the main reasons, if you plot out what you wanted to do and start circling the ones that would easily be the ones that you would choose, if it's based on freight dispatching, you will see that you're circling. You just put on all the excuses and circle the ones that you'll realize once you circle them that there was nothing to fear to begin with. Fear was in your mind or your hesitation. Comments and excuses are all going to be eliminated. You can't blame the economy. You can't blame your boss. You can't blame emergencies or your family, your commitments, all that, because in the end, it's bringing you up a whole financial level. Almost every single person I'm talking with, once they see the actual financial, the balancing out of what makes them more and the amount of time and energy that they have to invest into freight dispatching versus what we're doing, it is hands down freight dispatching is winning because they're like, damn, I can't believe I wasted that much time doing this or that or whatever it is. Because I get people from every walk of life. They've been doing all kinds of stuff, making $2,000 or $3,000, and they think they're rich. Look, Rich, I know Rich. I've seen Rich. I have hung out with them boys that own these big ass trucking companies. I know Rich. Arrogant pricks, man. If there's like, hello, George, how are you doing? You better have a red flag up because they want something. Okay. They're all about using other people to get what they need, not in a bad way, but in a business way. And that's the way the machine runs. But that being said, if you decide to do this, we're going to teach you the exact same profile where you're not doing the digging the ditch. You're actually leading the team, and you want to be the leader. Okay, when you're talking about the math, you can't hide the math. You can do a lot of crap, but you can't hide the math. Low startup, like I told you, what you needed. How much more did you think it was going to be? You don't have to have a building. You ain't got to have trucks. You ain't have none of that crap. It is literally pennies on the dollar. If you fell in this, if you fell in it, you suck. If you obviously do what you're supposed to do, it's a 100% success rate. I'm not joking. I mean, everything we teach you, there's no reason you should fail. You just chose to fail because you let yourself fail. Everything's there. I'm there. There's no reason that you should fail. But low overhead, what overhead you got? Your internet, you already got to have internet so you can watch TV and everything, right? It's the same internet. The rest of it's already paid hardware that you've got, like your phone, your laptop, and your noise canceling headset. Inventory, there ain't no inventory. The days of printers and all that crap is out the window. Everything's done through TMSs, as transportation management systems, and all that type of stuff. You ain't got to worry about all that mess. And no physical product. We don't produce jack crap. We only provide a service. And I can show you how to do that on a part-time or a full-time basis. The only overhead that you could generate is when you start outsourcing, because you're going to outsource with, like, say, for the Philippines. They speak great English. They've already been working for carriers. They've already been trained up. That's where you're going to benefit. But outside that, they're making so much money for you versus what this cost you to keep them paid that it is a win-win. Now, business model advantages, you don't need a commercial business. You don't need no expensive equipment. You got the potential to work remotely, be wherever you want. And obviously the potential to earn more money than, I'm not going to put traditional incomes, but it's more money than I ever saw. And I was an owner operator. Did you hear me? I was an owner operator, and I see more money in freight dispatching than what I ever saw owning that big ass fancy 18-wheeler that I was pimping up in the truck stops. I was an idiot, okay? And I'm the first to admit it. But I learned, I got out of the rut, and now I don't own a bunch of equipment or nothing. I can go wherever I want, when I want, as long as I keep my phone lines and everything up, making sure I got internet, then I'm good to go. You need to answer these questions. Okay, number one, if you stay exactly where you are for the next 5 years, what's going to change for you? What's financially going to improve your lifestyle unless you start embezzling the company? Okay, will your income suddenly double? Actually, it's more like triple or quadruple if you listen to me and learn from me. Will opportunities magically appear? Man, I can be sitting here working, doing freight dispatch and helping students, and making sure that my freight dispatcher is keeping my trucks loaded. And there'll be somebody to call me. Hell, they got 5 or 10 trucks, and they want to know that can we actually run them for them. Yeah, we can run them for you. And we're gonna do it. They're gonna be at the Dayton thing where they're trusting me, like with a few trucks, and then we bring more trucks up to speed as we bring them online, if you want to call that, because they're already running. But the thing is, a lot of people have found that a lot of people get tired of running. I know you're saying, well, if they got 10 trucks, surely they could hire their own freight dispatcher. Some people just suck at managing. Me, I'm a straight asshole. I'm not here to play. I'm not here to be your friend. And even, like for y'all that actually come to my course, ask everybody, I'm here to kick you an ass. Now, if you're moving along at the pace that you should be, then I'm here to assist you. But for you to get stagnated, that's what you hired me for, is to kick you an ass so that you would not fail. Okay? So don't feel bad about it. Will financial freedom show up because you're waiting long enough? Well, you got to make your opportunities. Every opportunity I've had, I fought, I scraped, I spent 18 fucking hours, 20 hours, 24 hours, whatever it was to make it happen. Okay. If you're going to sit back, well, I'm going to work 8 hours and I'm going to happen. Good luck with that. Wish you the best. When you get going, you'll understand as you go through your life cycle the amount of time that you spend in the different categories. Lots of times it was just learning. Then you actually kept learning different things from different aspects on whatever industry you're in, and then all of a sudden you realize, I know it now, or I know it proficiently enough that now I can actually start building me a business. But let me tell you something. There's a difference between running a business and building a business. You can bring in a lot of people to run the business, but you building a business, you can't just bring in somebody to build a business. People think that way, you're going to fail too. You're always going to have your feet in the mud. I mean, how much labor you have to do, you have to learn to delegate. But overall, you're going to have to lead your company. People are going to look for you for the right answers. And that's the reason your seniority is there, because you learned it. Now, probably not doing nothing is still a decision. I get it so many times. Like I said, people titty baby, cry baby, and let me ask my wife. I respect all that, but you got to make a decision. They make one decision one day. 3 months later, they give me a call back. 6 months later, they give me a call back. I've even had them up to 8 months give me a call back to see, are you still doing what, freight dispatching and teaching people? This is what I do. This ain't some run by night strategy. I'll do this to the day I die. And then I was like, brother, you should have already done this. You could have already been up and running, had your own business, and been up and going. It doesn't take years. It takes a matter of weeks to months. You're up and going, generating revenue, and then you just keep on growing. Keep your feet in the mud. Like they say, die with your boots on. That's what you got to focus on. Logistics is not going nowhere. Okay, and that decision has consequences. Absolutely has consequences. Whether it's positive or negative for you, that's your own mindset. Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? But thing is, if you don't take a chance on something, how are you going to know? You got to walk through the fire to actually learn. So it's going to be your final decision. I hope that one helps you, and really think about that. Now here is the truth. Freight dispatching requires a long-term commitment, not a short-term gamble. Your call. You're the one wanting to become a freight dispatcher. You got to do just like I did. This is who I am. It becomes who you are. Um, and as long as I look out for my people, then I'm in a good good state of mind. I'm in good state financially, and I've got something that belongs to me, not nobody else, and I'm the one growing it. There are no simple answers or shortcuts to proficiency. It's going to be a learning curve, but it's problem solving skills, and you will get very proficient with it because you're living and breathing it day in and day out. Success is earned, not accidental or a game of chance. Strategy, strategy, strategy. You got to understand, without strategy, you're probably going to have a lot of problems. But the biggest thing that I have found in regards to strategy, give me a second. One is going to be the people you surround yourself with, and the people that you actually do business with. What are they bringing to the table? If they're not better than me, then how am I going to benefit? I'm already at the level above them, so why am I going to let them draw me down? So keep that in mind. Professionalism, a detailed strategic craft. You're going to learn strategy, because you're going. Actually, it's not. I'm gonna tell you what. Strategy. You sit around, yeah, you think about it, but you're gonna realize some of it just starts you get so good at it, it just starts falling out of your head. Like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? And you know it's 100% success rate by changing whatever you're doing to that. Even though you got something that's working, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time, but you know something else that engages anymore. Because remember, we're working in a virtual world now. And that being said, there's so much more I can do to maximize my potential and make it where I'm doing the work of more people, or the people that I'm using, I can actually bring them up further to be more beneficial to my company. I hope that makes sense, but that's going to come with time. Excellence is found by those who proactively strategize while others remain paralyzed by doubt. I hate to let you tell you, but you get paralyzed. Man, you're like a damn deer in the headlights. I mean, you're going to get busted by some pickup. You should just get yourself together, grind it out. You know what? You've grinded. Remember when you was a kid? I know this crap when you grinded it out. Mowing lawns, whatever it took, you were doing it. I was there too. Unless you come from a rich family that had money all the time, you always were. Most people are blue collar, right? You can consider yourself white collar now, whatever you want to do. Hide your identity. I could care less. But the thing is, I'm a redneck kid, redneck child, right? And I learned how to work. I worked in chicken houses, milk farms, everything around me. Mowing Miss Compton's yard, all these other things that I used to do for her, but I was always proactive. Wasn't making nothing, but everything kept teaching me. And now that I'm to this point, I teach people, but if you don't ask me questions, I have no idea what you need. Like in our self-paced course, everything's there. There ain't nothing missing, but I'm always still making it better. I'm never satisfied. I don't know if I'm OCD or ADHD, but my job is to make sure that when people entrust me, that I can actually deliver what they were asking for, and hopefully, we can have positive results. But I get some people that are lazy as hell. I don't know if they were born that way or what it is, but there ain't a lot of help I can do for them. They're already going to sink and fail because they've already made it up in their mind that they're going to fail, and that's sad. There's just no reason. You're from the United States, the greatest country on earth. Now, the reality. The biggest risk in freight dispatching is not failure. The biggest risk is never getting started because you spent too much time talking, you know, talking to yourself, or basically talking yourself out of an opportunity. Listen to people surround you with their negative things. You know what pisses people off? Where haters come from? Because you're doing something else they're too lazy to get off their ass and do. That's where all that comes from. But that being said, don't let that tear you down. Just do it. I don't care if you choose me or somebody else. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. At some point, you have to stop asking, what if this doesn't work? Man, you know how many times I fail versus the number of times I succeeded? But so what? If I get knocked down, I got the balls to get back up and keep on pushing forward. I'm not going to let nothing tear me down. My creator, he designed me exactly the way I am. So I'm not ashamed of what I am. Do I wish I was more gentle sometimes? Yes. But thing is, you got to learn. Sometimes you got to be really hard because that's the reason I'm not made for everybody. Do you trust me? Do you trust my company, Truck Driver Nation? What do you need from us? Can we provide that? The more you can communicate, the more I can tell you where we fit into your slot to make sure that we're the right decision for you. But you got to make a decision. It's just going to keep lagging on and lagging on. And the hell, before you know it, you didn't build nothing and you could have already built you something really great. Now, and start asking, this is some follow up, what if I spent the next 5 years doing exactly what I'm doing right now? You're going to be exactly where you're at. You know what they say? You keep doing the same thing over and over. Why would you expect the results to come out any differently? Maybe freight dispatching ain't for you, but I guarantee you, I know it changed my life. And that's all I need to know because the only person I care about knowing that is myself. And I share that little tidbit with you. But anyways, that being said, come to Truck Driver Nation. Come look at our website. We got a YouTube channel, a lot of videos in there that help you out, get quality content so you can make decisions. Like or subscribe to this stuff. It definitely helps us out somehow. I don't know. But that being said, reach out to us. Also, go to the homepage. There's a QR code, brings you straight to Telegram if you're ready to move forward. We do a Wednesday webinar, so if you want to send your email to us, then obviously we'll put you on the webinar list for the upcoming Wednesday. So you can come in there. It's free. It's no charge. Outside that, if you don't know freight dispatching, you need to take the course. You know, there's not a certification required, but you need to understand how the machine works. But anyways, I appreciate it. I hope to help you guys out. Everybody be blessed, and I look forward to talking to y'all soon. Drivers out there on the road, you guys be careful. Appreciate what you do. Talk to you guys soon.